Welcome to the PARAcast. I'm your host, Tomas the Boss Hernandez, joining you, not in front of the bed tent, disassembled. Just waiting for the sheets to get clear and putting those bad boys on and going to be sleeping like a human. Blackout curtains coming tomorrow. Anyways, joining me tonight. What did I write here? Oh, okay. Hold on.
You're getting older, Tommy. That
Need your
paper's getting
glasses?
farther and farther away.
Yeah, well, it's like his marriage still works because his wife also doesn't listen to Taylor Swift. It's Robert Wyatt. You can't have two like that's imagine a hellscape. Two people when the new Taylor Swift album comes out. I deserve better. I deserve better.
All I know is I went and saw the Deadpool movie, and that was the best movie I've seen since the last movie I saw, which was the Taylor Swift concert, which she bought tickets to so we could go to. And she is such a trooper that when we went to this, we were at that theater, and people were like, they looked at her and they're like, "Oh, you like Taylor Swift too?" And she was like, "Yes, I do."
Yeah, yep. I also like that's like going to AA for support of your spouse. I also drink. That's the same equivalent to it.
That is a
Don't
good
insult the
relationship
mob.
right there.
Don't insult the mob. They might get you.
Wow.
The Olympic opening ceremony was finally gay enough for Kevin Isaac.
Hey, Pride Month's over, all right? That's past. We don't talk about that anymore.
Not in France.
Maybe it was approved during Pride Month.
It's
Yeah.
something.
Like I started like I had it like the recap or whatever. I didn't make it like 9 seconds of the recap. I was just like, what is this? China's got like 6,000 people like but the synchronicity of like a Swiss watch coming together doing this stuff. You look at Muhammad Ali in like the 1996 Olympics, standing there with a shaking arm to light the torch. You see all these great moments and like, yeah, all right. Yeah. More
What
guys
do you expect from a country of cheese-eating surrender monkeys?
Mm.
Just saying. I mean,
Well,
Oh.
we're going to see what the hell Utah does in, 10 years?
years.
No. Oh, don't worry.
yeah,
Don't
why did I not get a vote on that?
It's it's just going to be the Republic of Utah at that point because we all know the Fallout timeline is just 150 years off. It's all coming together. And he was paid in Pokemon cards, so we can't help it. Ladies and gentlemen, the second shooter, Jared Stepp.
I like Pokemon.
Pokemon and
You gotta have
MK
neck
Ultra.
beard when you say that.
He's like, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do?
How do you say
Hologram.
no to a first edition Shadowless Charizard? That could pay for my house.
I don't even know what that is, but I
What-
assume it's good.
One time I was opening a pack of like Marvel. No, Patreon. If you're not on the Patreon, you want a Deadpool spoiler cast. That's on the Patreon side this week. I was opening up a package of like I think it was like Marvel series 4 of like the trading cards. You'd pull. Oh, I got a Wolverine. I got a Spider-Man. Whatever. And I pull out the rarest card out of that batch, which was a hologrammed Venom versus Spider-Man. And then like we walked into the store and I saw that it was $125. Well, I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. I've lost it since whatever. My brother first went, well, that was my pack because I touched it first. Obviously, that's the way they. But then my dad saw how much that card was worth, and then my dad started getting out the calipers, and so he started measuring how thick the pack of cards is with the hologram card in it to discern if you could drop the calipers on the packs of cards to see if the hologram. Nope. There's too much variance in the paper too anyway, so it was too way off. But that's
Tried at least.
That's trying. That's
Well,
trying.
so back in the day, you actually used to be able to weigh packs because
Yes.
the holographic packs had more weight to them than just a normal pack. And so there are ways to actually figure out heavier packs typically had a better card in them. And then Pokemon got wise to it. And then they started doing every single pack has a holographic card. And basically now it's very difficult to cheat.
Well, what would happen is the card shop owners, they open the big old boxes of the things, and then they would weigh them out. Then
Right.
they would open them out, and they would take those out, and then like, oh, you think somebody who doesn't need to make the commercial rent on a card shop ain't gonna take those cards out there so they can be like, oh, you want that Charizard? $130. and someone pays the $130, and then they go, all like 4 more carts, and we got rent paid, everybody. Now everything's profit on this dump. Like that's all that happens. Anyways, I was on vacation, went down to California, had searing net pain, went to Knott's Berry Farm and all that jazz. It was fine. I
Was it
found
the Knott's Berry Farm that gave you the neck pain?
no, I had a tightness when I was
It's
driving down,
California.
but I was dude, my
He
son,
went there and immediately got cancer.
Mike, like you prick that kid and he's just bleeding conservative. Like the other night he was throwing kids around that were bigger than him because of his jujitsu skills now. He was sitting there and then his cousin said, Mike was like, oh, on this Project Zomboid, it's like a 1911, it's a 7-shot. And his cousin said, I don't know what that is. And Mike's response, Californians.
Well, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's spitting that fire. So, anyways, like my neck was already bugging me, but like I got it calmed down. I've had neck issues for years, and so like I want to go on a roller coaster with my daughter and my son. Really want to do that. So I go on that roller coaster. I'm like, yeah, it's bugging me, but it ain't the worst.
What if we shake it around a whole lot?
What? Yeah. What if we try to make it fight, and then every time that gravity is back induced to your neck, it pushes down and like spikes you through your entire shoulder? And so I got off of that, and like there are times when I, have to tell myself, don't cry, and you get off of that, and then you're like, oh yeah, that was fun. And you're like keeping a brave face for every, and you're like constantly rubbing your shoulder. And then my brother, he's just like, hey, normally if you have that tightness, it's something to do with like on your pecs. And I have these 2 large knots on my pecs. And then my brother proceeded to help me with the physical therapy, which he would grab these knots as hard as he can. And I would
Did
just,
he give you a titty twister?
yeah. And he would just grab these knots as hard as he can. And then I would be like lifting my arm as he like were stringing out these knots. And it was gruesome. It was, but I got done with that and I'm like, you know what? I feel fine. We went on a river raft ride, and then there's this roller coaster, this wooden roller coaster called Ghost Rider. And if you look at Ghost Rider, it looks like an old wooden roller coaster. This thing scares the shit out of me over more like the hang time roller coaster where you hang over like inverted or like straight down for like 10 seconds before they drop you and they go everywhere and it has crazy loops, or the accelerator where they launch you off like it's a freaking aircraft catapult and you do crazy things. This one doesn't have any loops. It just has the drops, and I was feeling good, and they went on that, and then after that, like I was toast, done. So I was having a hard time laying down, so I like pushed my bed. I'm at my mom's house. It's littered with people. I push my bed into a corner. I go out. There's my little nephew Corbin, and I take the couch pillows that are around him, and one that he's like using for it, and I like take that just gently away from his head, and his little 8-year-old head just plops down, and I throw those with the pillows I have into the corner, and I'm like, I don't know, like vampire, just kind of like in the back, like it's on my sarcophagus, just like leaning back there, like I died in a warscape, and I'm just in the corner,
Setting in.
and I just can't sleep, and I'm just like, I'm gonna go. I brought my computer down, and I fired up the old Ready or Not video game. And then like I was like, I haven't played this in a while. I've been playing with the guys with the aliens and the hell divers. And so I played that, and it was like one of the funnest things. They had like these updates where they fix it. And I was just having such a fun time with there. They came out with some update, and we've hit the pinnacle of what would you say, of awareness when the Flux Raiders now in that freaking game.
Right.
And, yeah, and so now like you got the Flux Raider, and it's just like that game is so freaking fun because you get to do things that no moral police officer would do. There's a guy behind a door. You snake cam the door. You're like, do you want to blow it up? And you're like, no, I haven't tested the penetration power of 7.62. And then you get an idea of where his head's at through the door, and you just start firing 7.62 behind the door, and then you hear the body fall down. You're like, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. And so then like you go, like it's just been a fun freaking game to sit there and play around with. And then I have 2 USB 45s taken apart. Like I'm trying to learn about how these USB trigger systems work in detail, so I can figure out how to polish them and do all that stuff like that, and give myself really nice trigger jobs on them. And so they have these weird things that are like different. Because like you might have a disconnector, a sear, a hammer, trigger bar. These things have control levers and what are called hammer catches. And so like so this control lever helps push the hammer catch down. So what the hammer catch does, there's a little notch on the hammer. So pretend there's a hammer on top of my hand here. And what the hammer catch does is when the gun goes to fire and the trigger hasn't been pulled to the rear, the hammer catch falls into the notch and impedes the hammer from falling down. That's how the decocker works. It just drops the hammer catch catches the hammer. But when it's not, the hammer catch drops below. The hammer catch impedes the top of the hammer here, and then when it actually fires, the hammer catch goes inside the notch, and it allows the hammer to go and fire. And this is actuated by a control arm, which is just basically like some sort of seesaw. But it does have something to do with the trigger pull, because when you get a Gray Guns kit, they give you a control arm, not a sear, not a hammer, nothing else. And so I'm trying to
hang on. I'm a little bit behind this. I just want to catch myself up. Okay, so Tommy went on vacation. He went to Knott's Berry Farm where his neck started hurting. Because his neck started hurting, he decided to sleep on the couch. But the couch wasn't exactly comfortable, so he stole a pillow from his nephew, and then he started to play from a child. Then he decided to play a game. And while he was playing that game, he decided that he really, really liked the platform of the Germans circa 1941. So he pulled out a pair of firearms and he started disassembling them.
I disassembled them here when I got home. You're caught up, and I'm trying to figure out these things. And now I've ordered. Wolf Springs has like these main springs, so now I got some main springs to kind of tune USPs and HK45s and P30. So I'm like going through that and practicing a little bit. There's the P30 there in a rig, and a Dominate rig. So it's been a fun couple weeks.
Like somebody else on this thing has ADHD, because I mean that's just awesome.
Well, I'm catching you up on 2 weeks. Calm down. Calm down. Robert. All right, let's hear it, Robert.
I got nothing at this point.
Sassy little shit.
What did I do? Let's see. I did nothing, although I may or may not have looked very earnestly at a Desert Eagle.
Oh, I was up at the armory yesterday, and I said, next time you see Robert Wyatt when he comes in here, he's going to try to get you guys to receive a Desert Eagle. I just want you to know that. And they're like, okay, well, he helped me with the Shadow 2. Well, he doesn't care about Shadow 2s anymore. He's only into Desert Eagles.
Hey, you could trade probably, 1.5 Shadow 2s for a Deagle?
I probably could. But then I'd only
buy the Deagle.
Or I could just buy a Deagle.
Yeah.
Or 2.
True.
The crazy thing is, like,
2.
You need 2 if you're going to be lore accurate. So
yeah, I know.
$5,000 later.
I really kind of want one, but I've wanted one for a long time. It's like on my short list of guns that I've always wanted that are like totally impractical.
Well,
and the Deagle is 100% that. And Robert, I have boxes of 50 AE just sitting around.
You saw Blanton's gonna shoot a match with a Deagle.
Yes. Yeah, we were talking about that. I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever.
The kind of crazy thing is like there's a bunch of different models, and like a lot of them have ports already at the end of the barrel. A lot of them have different rail sections on there now. So like the kind of thing is like if you want like the old school 1990s, or do you want the newest? No,
you got to get like the most outlandish. It's got to be the gold plated.
Gold tiger stripe, boys.
And if it happens to have like the grips that have Trump on it, like the Trump Punisher thing. I mean, if we could go Tiger King on this thing, I would be so down with that.
The funny thing is they know their audience so well that the amount of paint schemes and tiger stripe stuff that those come from the factory, like they know exactly who's ordering these things now. They're not the boomers. It's the kids who want to unlock the camos.
It's the dumbest gun in the entire world, and I so badly want one.
I have a friend who actually bought one. And he did it by buying a Cabela's, by qualifying for a Cabela's credit card. And for like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, he bought every single thing with that Cabela's credit card. And eventually, he had so many points, he got a goddamn Desert Eagle for free. And that was what he did. And he was the most proud man I've ever seen in my life. And it was the funniest thing because he's just like, I bought this for free. And he was so proud of himself. I'm like, good for you, bro.
It's a pointless gun and it's stupid. And I get it. I totally understand how dumb that gun is. But anybody who's ever watched the movie Snatch and now Deadpool, kind of like,
Land
Yeah.
Cool gun.
and
Met-
the OG Matrix.
Yep.
Metal Gear Solid. Meryl. That's what Meryl Snake tries to offer her his 45 SOCOM, and she's like, I'll keep my 50 Action Express Desert Eagle, and like, you know, could you spend half the money and get a more reliable 50 caliber revolver or a Smith and Wesson 29 and 44? Sure.
Sure.
But you want a gas operated handgun.
Desert Eagle .50.
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say Desert Eagle .50. Like, yeah,
And it doesn't have tiger stripes.
doesn't have tiger stripes.
Form over function.
If you show up to a USPSA match and you can shoot probably limited 10.
Yeah,
and
very much
I think
so.
you'd probably qualify for major power factor.
I'll tell you
So
what,
I-
Robert.
Just a little.
You'd have the time of your life. You could shoot that. Tom could shoot an HK Mark 23.
I in December when I buy my Mark 23, you get that, and at least our hands will be somewhat warm, but our ears will be bleeding from that
Yes.
freaking Desert Eagle. And I will watch where the brass is when you
I was
fire
gonna say,
to pick that
yeah,
up.
I will have Taylor and Zach like personally like watching for brass. As much as I go around try and find all their 38 supers, they will owe me one to
Yeah.
shoot that at a match.
The one thing that's cool about those things is what is it? I think it's an 8 or a 10-inch barrel upper that you can get on these. When 50 Action Express isn't hauling enough ass for you, don't worry. We here at Magnum Research at IWI have a 10-inch barrel that you can throw on this thing so that you can send that stuff out even faster. Isn't that great? Like,
Have
that's
you ever wanted to tell an elephant, fuck you?
Well, that's what 458 Winchester's for. No, the only thing I always had a problem with, like the one that they had at the armory, was the grips. Just the rubber grips on the thing were so long, I could never really actually get a decent grip around the gun. And so if I could find just like something that they were just slightly like more narrow or shorter,
Tom,
it'd be awesome.
Robert, you're supposed to shoot it one-handed, but
Yeah, that's true. It's got too much power. I've been shooting 9mm too long, and like these wimpy little hands.
I would
do
I would do what Mike does when he's handling firearms. He's not sure what the recoil is. Just go ahead and put one in the chamber, kick out the
Just
mag.
one.
Just one. Just one.
I have never felt that gun was like the recoil on that gun was particularly aggressive. I mean, we shot it a bunch, and it's got a recoil. There's no doubt about that. But I've shot other guns that are decidedly more stout than that thing was. The thing that's crazy is how much of a fireball that thing spits out. That's nuts.
Well, that's
powder burning
Oh
in the
my
air.
gosh.
That's why you need a 10-inch barrel. Like,
IDPA, shoot from retention, boys.
If I get a Desert Eagle, I will show up to one IDPA match, only one, and I will shoot from retention just for that match.
God, that would be so great to just show up to the state match, don't tell anybody, and you just show up with a goddamn Desert Eagle, and you just take that out, ka-chink, and everyone. What would you think as an RO? As an RO, if some fucker just pulls out a Desert Eagle, loads that up, holsters it up, is like, ready. You just like,
I'd
what?
lean over to the outside RO and be like, I want that.
What the Christ
well,
is about to happen?
This literally needs to be a not a cop division, and it's called plus
Big
P.
dick.
Well, it's like plus. Oh my God, is what it is. And to qualify for this, it's one shot per target, but you must produce over 200 power factor ammunition.
10mm, baby.
And the nice thing, like 10 millimeters, will do it. And a 50 Action Express coming out of its 6-inch barrel will only produce about 600 power factor, because
600 hit factor.
you stack the targets. But like the power factor, because I remember chronoing Steve's 500 Smith and Wesson Magnum, and that came like a 653 power factor. Like, there's
but every single time a guy like that shoots a stage, you're gonna have to replace the goddamn targets because they're gonna get blown away.
Well, just don't put them on
fire.
Don't, for the love of God, don't put them against the walls this time, because otherwise we're just going to be dead men, and because Dirk's going to kill us all. But like that thing, it's like I will come up with the hottest 45 caliber, because if there's one 45 caliber gun that can get a 45 over 200 hit factor, give me 185 grain full metal jacket bullets, and I will stick that in that Mark 23, and I will zip those bad boys out. It'll
I
be
promise
fun.
you, I've got some hotter 45 than what you're gonna come up with, because accidentally looked at the wrong damn line.
That's called
Robert.
pulling, Robert. You pull those bullets.
Robert
I know.
can't read.
You're shooting that through your tit sauce from 1911, right?
That was out of my
Yeah.
Glock 41, which is gonna give me just a little bit more pump.
Good, good. You know what? When the back of that case blows the F up, or the bottom of it, and you break your toe because that shot the magazine out at the bottom of the gun so damn hard, you know,
I
that-
just remember I loaded that I loaded that gun up, racked the sight, put it down range, pull the trigger, and I'm like, Jesus Christ!
it's one of those. You strip
Perhaps
the,
I've messed up.
you
No. It was worse because I'm like, well, I'm used to shooting 9, so maybe this is what a 45 is. Do it again. I'm like, I don't like this no more.
You're like that's when you take apart where you like gently take apart the gun and make sure it still racks, because you're like looking for barrel bulges, and like you start holding up the barrel to the light, like I'm not sure that's perfectly concentric. You're just yeah. And then you're like look in the middle, and you're like looking for like the oval shape somewhere in the middle. Like it's still good. I think it's still good. We won't shoot any more of this. It's still good.
There was a guy at the Caps match this weekend who had an out of battery detonation on his Canic, his polymer Canic.
Ooh.
It wasn't on this. I wasn't on his squad, but it bent his extractor. So, like, gun actually looks fine. So
Is that a regular thing to have happen to Canics?
I've never seen it before. So I mean, I know you can do it, right? So it's similar to the PDP, where if you hold it just like a millimeter out of battery, it'll still go.
Oh, it'll still strike.
Yeah, it'll still strike. And so
P320 will do that too.
It could happen. I think he was shooting remand ammo of a company I never heard of. So I'm sure that was probably what it was. So.
Well, if only we could get a better disconnector that would prevent such a thing, so it doesn't have that wide. Like no gun should have a wide enough window that it fires out a battery, especially in the YouTube age of Milspec Mojo doing .11 splits and Jared doing like .10 splits. Like we maybe in like go out on a limb in battery all the time when it fires.
Yeah.
So that's
It's just a suggestion though. I mean,
That's lame. Live your life how you want to live.
And then
SIG has made an entire product line on firing out a battery. Don't tell them what to do.
don't tell. Yeah, how dare you tell them? I
firing
actually
out a battery or firing without pulling the trigger.
Potato, tomato. It doesn't
Let's
matter.
do both.
Why not both?
why not both? I actually sat there and we went to Shields yesterday, me and the boys, and I saw the SIG's new 1911, their 1911X or whatever.
I like that gun.
It's pretty nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
And actually Shields actually has the cheapest price out there. I even gun.deals it. You know, it does have the RMSC footprint for the optic.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of locked into their
but that's actually okay, dude, because
not too bad.
It's
EPS,
such a skinny, small kind of like slide that it's going on anyway.
Yep.
So it for like form factor, it fits, it works for it. I'm actually okay with that.
Yeah, I would be having another 45 would be great. I would buy one of those 9mm. The other problem is too is like you can get those TSOS 9mm, which the general thought is they all are really nice and they all work, you know. And so if you want like TSOS has like those Marine Corps models in 9mm, they have, and so like if you want a 10-shot 9mm railed 1911, like that is a blast. That would be that'd be fun to get. A fun thing to shoot. You know, and they're so expensive because that Marine Corps model, you know, one is, you know, a whopping $540, you know, and you're just like, you look at it and you're just like, oh, it's a forged framed steel and a cold hammer forged barrel like the Springfields are, and all those guns at that price point are all MIM parts anyway, and so you're just like, man, that would be
what's
fun.
impressive is like I've actually shot a handful of those in person. They're all great. Like they all work incredibly well, and you're just like, this is all right.
I think that a lot of people have this opinion of MIM, like what is it, metal injection molding, that is based around an opinion that is probably 10 to 15 years older. And I think with everything that we've done with CNC and computer technology and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff's gotten better.
Well,
Is it the best best in the world? Hell no.
it's
But it's a whole lot better than it was.
well, when you look at every single like Beretta part or CZ part, most of those parts are going to be MIM. And
Yeah.
that's because they exist in a world where all the other parts for those kind of guns are MIM. But in the 1911 world, where like, when every gun is compared to a $2,000 or $3,000 gun, and those are bar stock parts or forged parts that they're actually pulling off of, then they can look there and say at MIM. There are a couple things with MIM parts that aren't generally the best with those kind of designs, those hammer and sear designs, which is the hammers and sears are not as hard, so those trigger jobs can kind of wear off over time. And so, like, but it's like the Robert's Prodigy. You buy the gun, the $300 in hard parts are just that's part of the game, and you do that, and then you get your caning hammer and you get your EGW sear and your EGW slide stop, and then like when the other MIM parts break, you're just like, okay, then I'll replace them as I go. But like some of those like cheaper end 1911s, especially those T-Sauce ones, those things are fun. And like you look at look at like the product line, which I was just staring at like all week. Like if you're into GI 1911s, my gosh, do they have you covered? This is like World War One. These are A1s. Here's an A1 in 45. Here's an A1 in 9mm. Here's another kind of A1 with 3-dot
CMP
sights.
just teamed up with T-Sauce to make one
they did.
exactly for CMP. And so it's like, that's awesome. It's going to have like all the right roll marks and stuff. And like, it's going to be super cool.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, like the OG 1911s in 45, they suck. And they're horrible to shoot. They're not fun.
No,
it's a terrible, terrible gun.
They
They've
snap.
actually made them a lot better.
Oh yeah, the trigger pulls are like 8 pounds on some of those old guns. Like they're heavy. But that is a gun with a few
Robert.
YouTube videos you can get fixed real well.
Some of the new 1911s also fucking suck.
Well,
This is true.
Here's the other clue. Some of the
we have these guys show up and they have like these Colt 1911s, and they are trash.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
hot fucking garbage.
Yes.
Do you know who makes some of the best 1911s that you don't really hear a whole lot about anymore? Is Dan Wesson. I still think they make. I mean, if in chambered in 9mm. In fact, Jared, you used to have one.
Yeah,
I mean, chambered 9mm.
Dan.
It's a fantastic gun.
Dan Wesson is probably the best production 1911 you can get right now, and it's really the only one that I would actually recommend to people. I would either recommend Dan Wesson Pointman 9 or a Dan Wesson Specialist or a T-Sauce. That's the high-end side, and then the cheap-ass side.
You can literally get a Dan Wesson and then go through the EGW catalog and get every high-end part for that T-Sauce and throw it in that T-Sauce. And then you might even go pay a gunsmith to tune it. And guess what? It's probably going to come under. The one thing that those Dan Wessons kind of have, the one thing that they did lately is
self-respect.
They have self-respect. They went from the standard frame polished ramp on their 45 models to like uniform. They all went to ramped barrels. And the one thing is like the 45 caliber ones in ramp barrels don't do as well as like a 9mm, 10mm, but most of their guns now that they sell are 9mm. Like,
yeah, I mean, the biggest problem with the 9mm 1911s is just getting good magazines.
Yep.
The magazines really do seem to be kind of the everything when it comes to the 9mm. I've had good magazines, and I've had some that are just like, this is just a hot steaming pile of trash.
Yeah.
And that's the only firearm I've ever had that I've used a lot that has been so magazine picky.
Yep.
And it could have just been my gun, but as soon as I got good magazines for it, the Metcar magazines for my Springfield, it just ran, and it ran. I've never since had a problem with them.
Yep. Awesome. Kevin.
I fell down.
I saw that.
So Caps had their local match, right? And I didn't really notice this during the match. It rained like the whole day, off and on, bag targets most of the day. But most of the stages were like 2 or 3 step stages, right? Like just short shorter stages. And then the stage 6 was like a field course with 3 boxes you had to run to. And, I booked it up there and I stepped right on the fault board and it was wet and slippery and just took it down on my knee. But it was the human body's so cool, right? Like, because you get that instant shot of adrenaline and your brain just slows everything down. Like, I literally remember thinking, oh, I'm falling. Finger off the trigger, muzzle down range.
Good job.
Oh,
Get back up.
no.
Yeah. So like a 2.5 second fall down, get back up and shoot it, and so it didn't hurt actually. So I've been working out a lot more this year, specific for like lower body strength, like support strength, like for knees, and my hips have always been kind of weak, and so I've been doing exercises to try and strengthen those. And actually, I think it saved me there because like it engaged the muscle that I've been working. Like I've been feeling it when I'm working out, and it was sore for like I don't know a couple of minutes after I fell, and then it's fine. So I credit my working out routine to saving my back because I think normally that would have wrecked me. Just you tweak yourself falling down and
Well, you passed the gun handlers, like the guys who are safe with a handgun. You passed the gun handlers test, which is eating shit.
yeah.
I've eaten shit 3 times with a firearm, and it's just like didn't embarrass myself, And then you see people who eat shit and like, you
they go into the flailing mess of
Yes.
you're like, oh, I don't want to be near you anymore. Please go away.
Yep.
Other than that, it was a miserable match shooting in the rain. Like I was trying to stay positive the whole day because I'm just trying to use matches as kind of like practice competing, and it was rough, right? Like I really didn't like. I wasn't cold. I wasn't super wet, but the biggest thing is just pacing targets. It's such a pain in the butt. And then, as typical with Caps matches, it's just always a little janky, right? Like I think I had 2 reshoots or something like that in 6 stages, and one stage we had 4 reshoots for like not for one reason, right? It was like, oh, this still blew down in the wind. Oh, this activator I shot 4 times in the center and it didn't fall down. Or, the wind blew and stopped the activator sequence from working, and you're like, can we get out of the rain, please?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's when you're just telling yourself, well, I might have to shoot a major match and be miserable, so I might as well.
Exactly. Well, and that's
why save the money.
Well, it was the frustrating part is like, well, targets were kind of bagged and then they weren't, and then we had some targets that were just not situated well for rain, like those 45 angled down, which you shoot through the plastic, and then that section is now wet, which just happens to be where all the other tape is at, and then they start to pull themselves together, and because it's a local, they didn't have extra targets set up for this partial. So mid stage, I go off to the thing and paint some new targets, bring them out because it just like the target was collapsed, and I'm like,
guys,
it's fun. It was
guys, this isn't working.
Yeah,
I want to go home.
Yep.
Jared,
I didn't really do a whole lot this week. Just I worked a lot of overtime, and yeah.
Good.
So you're buying a DEagle with that overtime pay?
Not that much overtime, but I could buy Dan Wesson. So we'll see.
Market's gone up. They're Dan Wessons now. I've looked at them this week. Dan Wessons are getting close to them DEagle prices. So if you got $1,800 of scratch laying around in your pocket, here's the thing. They came out with some optics ready Dan Wessons, and then I'm watching a review and they have hex screws on the top. And
Kimber actually is coming out with their version of a 2011.
Oh yeah, they've had a couple for a couple. Yeah, for a couple. Their KHX or whatever. Okay. 2011, they have it.
Yeah, yep. I've always seen Kimber as just kind of a single stack guys.
Yeah, they got it's like Wilson Combat's 2011.
Yeah. Their X9, their XDC9 or whatever. Yeah.
It's kind of sorta 2011, but not really. I went and played with one. They have them out at like Shields and stuff, and because I was just curious, and they're not really well fit, and it just kind of felt clunky, and I was just kind of like, maybe it'll shoot all fine.
Sauce, right?
I'd rather get a T-Sauce.
I mean, that's the knock on Kimber. I mean, the frame slides and barrels are as good as any other brand. The people who assemble them and do the fine finishing work at the end aren't there. But like if it's kind of like with all those guns, like if you want one out of the box, then you can get a T-Sauce, and if you want one because you like the nice looking frame and checkering and stuff like that, then you buy a Kimber and you gut it. And then, a Springfield Armory will work out of the box, but then you got to still open those things up and gut them. Like one of the great 1911 channels is Hilton Yam's 10-8 Performance Labs.
Mm-hmm.
He'll tell you how to like tune all the tests to do, and he does all these things on like 1911s from Springfield Armory, and he has to go in there and then tune them from the factory. Basically go out there and then mess around with them to get them to work 100%. They're different guns.
Yeah,
And
I just find that wholly unacceptable today. I mean, back in 1990, 1980, whatever. I mean, the idea that you'd go to a store and buy a gun as a normal person, right? That you go to a store and you buy a gun as a normal person, and that gun doesn't work. It has to be then sent off. Is by today's standards is kind of bullshit.
yeah, well, the one
Guns should just work.
The one crux on 1911s is the extractor has to be tuned. If you want to have a gun that doesn't have those tolerances or that stacked, or you want to have one of the external extractors, but almost even some of those external extractor designs, those extractors have to be tuned.
There's companies that make 1911s that don't have that extractor thing, like Sig or Smith & Wesson or something like that.
Yep, Sig and Smith kind of have those extractors that don't have such a tuning issue, but that's the one thing is like most of these guys are getting, some of them make their own frames and some of them don't, and like they have all those parts out there, and you get to tune them and play the maintenance cycle with those guns. And that's just what it is. It's like you want a cool 1911 that works, you want a T-Sauce, here are the things that come along with it.
Speaking of tuning 1911s, kind of on subject. So on my DWX, I think it's like a 2011 style safety, but it may be mixed like a shadow one. I'm not totally sure to look at it closer. What do I do to increase the difficulty of turning the safety on?
AR-15 detent string.
Okay.
So yeah,
if it's like a Shadow 2, you take an AR-15 detent safety and you cut the thing down, and again, I don't know. I'd have to look at it to see if it actually is. But if it is like the Shadow 2, you use an AR-15 detent spring. I noticed that it turned on you.
Like not even all the way. It's just like partial, right? Like it's super easy to turn it on, right? Like super easy.
Yeah, it's realistically, it is probably like that, if that's what it is. But I have a whole bunch of AR-15 detents, and I take one of my old springs, and I just cut it down like plus 3 coils to the same length, and then I fit it, get it where I think it is, maybe cut off a coil until it's real. I mean, you're really having to jam that sucker in there. But then the safety on the flat side safeties that you have on most Shadow 2s will not turn on hardly at all. But the ledge safeties, it will turn on and off. But you have to want to do it. It's not just flicky.
I don't know.
So some of it's a training thing. I'll get around it. Like, it's already getting better. I figured out why I was having so much problem. I couldn't replicate it in practice because dumb me. In my dry fire practice, the hammer's always down, and so you can't turn the safety on.
Oh.
So I started practicing dry firing with hammer back. I hadn't pulled the trigger, reloading, and I've been able to replicate it. It's just a muscle memory thing, right? Like on Mechanic, I push the button and my thumb goes straight up, right? Because it's just going back to its normal position. I need to just go out a little bit and back on top.
It's a muscle memory thing that yes, that exists. However, if you can solve it,
no, and that's what it's also
it.
super easy, right? Like I can just kind of bump it,
yeah,
and it goes on. So it's like, well, it's probably a little too light.
Andy Erickson, he has the same problem with his TSO gun, and the same solution there is just to put an increased spring. And it's one of those things that it's actually what you kind of found out. I mean, if you're practicing with the hammer down, you're never going to see it, but it's in a match setting when you're trying to do other things that safety goes. Because when you're firing the gun, the safety is not generally going to apply itself. It's when you're having to do anything administrative that it would tend to turn on. And that's only if the DWX shares that same style safety. And if
Yeah,
it
I'll
does,
look
that's
up
how you
too.
solve it.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
But if where you like to line up your thumbs is at the border of the safety or slightly below the safety, like if you're a sweep down and then hugging right around there, that ain't how them work.
No, I've been on it, right? Like it actually is comfortable to ride on it.
Right
when I
on it,
shoot,
yeah.
Right? So it's
Well, if
It's
it's if it's a CZ safety or 1911 safety, get a nice gigantic fat one that you just can't get off of. Like these
yeah.
like my 1911s. Like I want to try the one like the high safety that Jared has, but my favorite 1911 safety has always been the single sided Ed Brown. Ed Brown wide safety. Like it just fits my hands. It's always there. I never slip off or anything.
A lot of this is though, it's kind of what Kevin's talking about, though. It is a bit of a training thing. I mean, if you come from a CZ world, you're used to riding that gun so much higher, so that when that safety, so your hands, it will inadvertently just kind of like bump that safety on, and it's not because anything other than that's just how you're used to holding a gun.
Yep.
And so yeah, I after Jared talked about the high safeties, I think at some point I'm gonna go through all my 1911 type guns and just change them out.
I think we're all buying tea sauces this week, and then and then at Christmas time we're getting $2,000 handguns. We're like, oh, what is this? What is this? Oh, it's 90s day. We're like, we got Desert Eagles and Mark 23s. Why? Because
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, hell yeah, brother. No one makes shit like this anymore. These were problems made by men who had Olympic Games where Bruce Jenner won shit. I remember Dave and Dan for Reebok. And I was so proud to be an American watching Dave and Dan when both of them didn't, like, Dave didn't even make the Olympics and Dan finished like 12th or something like that. I remember those days, and I'm proud of those days.
Are you guys even watching the Olympics?
No.
A little bit.
No.
A little bit. As a family, we usually watch
highlight
stuff, so.
reels.
Yeah, we'll see.
I bet, but to be fair, I don't watch TV either. So I mean, if there's a highlight reel or something that shows up, I'll watch that.
We like
I
our
watch more TV when the Olympics are on than any other time of every 4 years.
That's like
right.
Like, well, every year I do.
I'm with you.
Every year I do my what's the state of people who watch TV when I watch the Super Bowl. Like I watch a little bit before the Super Bowl, I watch a little bit afterwards. Like, oh, these people are morons. Like my mom will be like, my cable bill's like this. Is like, Mom, why do you still have cable? No one has cable now, Mom. You have every streaming service. How much cable do you actually watch? Well, I like this show. It's like, okay, watch it on YouTube. There's no point in paying $180 or whatever like that for the thing. Anyways,
well,
you want to spend
the Olympics are just weird because I mean, at no other point in 4 years does anybody even give the slightest shit about rowing. But as soon as the Olympics comes around, it's like, fuck you, America's the best thing ever.
Well, I like all the female team sports, especially from like the Eastern Bloc girls, because they all seem to be like women and
I
hot.
sent Tom a good reel
beach volleyball
of a girl throwing a javelin, and I'm like,
Everybody's just like looking at this Eastern Com black girl who's just like got perfect hair, just ripped out of her mind. She's throwing a javelin, and all the dudes are like, God damn, I gotta get me one of those.
Yeah, like I'm not.
Holy shit!
I don't feel like
poor girl, man. I tell you what.
I don't feel like I need like a mail order bride. But
my
my tolerance for like not looking like it's just a website. Like if you look at the website, it's just I can get used to goulash. I'm not an animal. If you want to eat goulash with your Eastern European girl, do it with a belt that fucking kicks ass. Head on over to American Operator Gear, get yourself a concealment belt, Dominate Defense, Mach 1 speed belt, the best competition, the best belts in the industry, period, bar none. Get them while you can. Use promo code PARA10, save 10% off your order. You can also check out Room Tactical, get a +1 for your gun. Stack up those bullets when you need it. So check them out there. Get 3-4 of them. Stock up your magazines and have a great time with, one more round in the gun. Room Tactical, promo code PARA10, and W74 guide rods. Get the guide rods.
Again.
He's got batteries, Titan batteries, everybody. Remember, today's goal is to get a TSOS 9mm 1911 with a rail, get a light, and let's get that bitch to 60 ounces. Let's do it. Fully loaded,
Frame length.
10 rounds and 9mm, 60 ounces. That's what we're looking for. Check them out, W74 Guide Rods. Use promo code PARA10, save 10% off, or use TSOS now. Get 11.
No, use that one.
Kevin, get on your computer. You got to program
Not doing
TSOS now to get 11. The people want what they want. And if you want to talk to us, head on over to Telegram. It's a messaging app. You can do it. You can search PARAcast. You'll see a come and take it flag. You can join the chat. You can ask us questions. We'll do our best to answer them. And spoil movies. Go.
There you go. Actually, somebody sent Jared a question on his Instagram's page asking about his really cool light. And yeah, so yeah.
Oh, so I was playing with on that overtime shift. I was working up at the mountains basically, and
Mountains.
I was playing with the different. Mountain. Yeah, there are many mountains.
They're all connected. Funny enough.
Mountain.
It's wild.
Mountain.
It's wild. But I was playing with the different lights: the Mod Light OKW Hog, the Mod Light PLH V2, and then the Goon Beam Assault. And honestly, that Goon Beam Assault really does an amazing job for like 130, 140 bucks, where those other two lights were like 300 plus. And then somebody asked a question about the turbo lights, and the turbos are essentially very similar stat wise to the Mod Light PLH V2, and they're great. And the big difference though is the flashlight, the weapon mounted light. For handheld lights, I wouldn't go with Surefire, but with weapon mounted light, that X300U turbo is still the best in my opinion. Mod Light has come out with a really nice weapon mounted light, but it doesn't fit all the holsters that I use perfectly, so I don't use it. So I still think the X300U Turbo is the best pistol mounted light out there. Handheld lights, the world opens up a lot, and there's like a million different options, and that Goon Beam Assault is right now probably the best bang for your buck. It's like 130, 150 bucks, and you're getting over 100,000 candela, over 1,000 lumens. Like, it's a bright ass motherfucker.
Well, the crazy thing is too, it's when you're talking about a weapon mounted light that's for a long gun, the world opens up for you too, because there's a ton of great options. And Goon Beam, like, they have the kits. It's like $20 more to get the rifle mounted version of their lights, and like that is a light to have hanging on the side of your freaking AR-15. Like that is.
I haven't
solid
played
lights
with those at all. My only real concern with the Goon Beam is long-term reliability. Every once in a while, like the handheld light, the tail cap will just kind of come loose on me, and so I'll have to just tighten it down. It's not that big of a deal. But
no, but that's actually the biggest downside.
Inline battery shake, you can get some of that too.
Is that if you like, so I like flashlights. I have tons of flashlights. Ever since I was a kid, I have tons of flashlights. But the one thing
you bought one, right?
I did.
Bought the concealed carry one.
And I use that like every night. So like every night I go for a walk, and like I take it out. I love it. It's actually really fantastic because it just works exceptionally well. The biggest downside is some of my other lights, you can open them up and plug in like a USB-C recharger thing. Right. This one, you have to unscrew the tail cap and then charge it up with a little device that they send you, which is fine, except for the fact that you're now unscrewing that tail cap every single time you want to charge it up.
Right. Yeah, but a lot of those, like,
it's what you said is like it, because of the way that is, it does just slowly kind of work itself out. So normally I'd put a little dab of like Loctite or something simple like that just to keep it from unscrewing. But I can't
charge it
because I have to charge it, and so it's good side, bad side. But I love the light; it's a fantastic light.
That's like the stream lights, like the streamlight chargers. You know, they have it on the side. When you have it on the side, and you want to keep it waterproof. You still have to have some O-ring, and like so you're like pulling the bezel away from the body, and that exposes the charging port and stuff like that.
Like that right there.
Yeah, and so like
I mean,
Goon Beam has it on the bottom. Like they're gonna have an O-ring. Like unscrew it, tap it in there. But here's the one thing that I've learned with flashlights, especially rechargeable flashlights: all the batteries die. They take a bad charge. They go on. They cook them. Like the only thing, like every light's gonna have an issue eventually. Battery lights are far better. But like as long as the place like warranties the stuff and has an accident, like you're gonna like I have the same flashlight from Streamlight. That thing has that goes through like every 4 months. That thing cooks itself in its backpack. I accidentally print it on. I tear the belt clip off. I've gone through a battery. A battery goes bad. It doesn't want to take a charge. I get it back, or I get a new one back from them, in 10 days. And so as long as they're servicing it like lights, like red dots have come farther than lights. Lights are little monsters that destroy batteries and generate immense amount of heat because we are asking them to illuminate something that we kind of want to see.
To replace the sun.
Like you're asking them to replace the sun and get more detail at something at night than the sun gives you during the day. Like I would like to see this better at 50 yards.
Yeah,
there you go.
I agree, dude. I mean, I've got so many of these and all the companies, Streamlight's the best, I think, for like that I've ever had to actually do anything.
The website's garbage.
warranty
I don't
work.
know, but like at least the warranty work stuff's easy to do.
Yeah.
So the one thing I will say is I've had a mod light, handheld light for probably 3 years now, maybe more. And it has been absolutely fantastic. It's the same way where you screw out the head, swap out the battery, screw it back in. But I don't know if the metal's just a little bit higher quality or just a little bit better machined. I don't know, but I've never had an issue with that coming loose ever. How I do it is just every day if I have extra batteries sitting on those smart chargers, and so if I'm going to go into work, I pop out this battery, get the new battery, plop it back in, screw it in, click, yep, it works, put it on the belt, put the old battery on the charger, and then I go off to work and I have a couple spares in the car, and I've never had an issue with that mod light. That Goon Beam though has just had a couple times where like I don't know if it's just the way that they did the threads or it's just kind of odd that every once in a while I'll try to use it. I'm like, God damn it. And I'm sitting there playing with it, trying to screw it back in. But so right now, honestly, I would still probably go with the mod light just for like if I was going to work on patrol right now, I'd be taking the mod light out, not the Goon Beam, just because I trust it more. I think the Goon Beam has its applications and I think it's very good. And I think just like the Surefires are also nice, but the Surefires are actually more expensive. Like the Surefire handheld, the turbo, the dual fuel, like the Surefire dual fuel Scout light, I think is like $450, which is bonkers.
That's a lot for a light.
Right. And so that's the thing. It's like it doesn't do anything better really than one of the mod lights or even Cloud Defense. They make a really good light. And so it's just I don't really see the point there. But again, the Surefires do a really good job. And so it's like, if you got the money, make a choice.
And if you want your handheld light to weigh, get 1/10 the lumens and also weigh more, check out W74 guide rods. Kevin's got batteries in stock.
Do you want your light to be thick so it can be like
Legend.
the mag light from days of old and you can beat minorities? There you go. Put more weight in that thing.
Like if you
fuck you,
if you want
a 5D cell battery.
If you want
Exactly.
to throw a battery and a flashlight and knock somebody out at like 10 yards, have we got the batteries for you?
Can we get some D-cell tungsten?
Those things would be hefty.
Oh
my
God.
gosh.
You see how big?
You're bending the flashlight.
We'll get the short
we'll
get the short 1-cell mag light. We'll find a one short cell. Like I bet you we could cut a tube and make a 1-cell mag light, and then we'll make a clamp for it like that, and then we just like, hey, USPSA, effing changed all the holster rules for the divisions. So as long as
holster.
And we get thigh straps now, like we could strap this thing in there and then pull it out. Now, of course, every time you fire the gun and you try to like bring
recoil just dips.
We're all bringing the gun up now. We have to it's a completely different training program, but it's fine. We'll get through
That's all right.
We'll get through it.
No, I had one of those. It was the 4-cell for years, and it was only like I think 2 or 3 years ago that it finally died. But I remember.
It's like everything from the 80s.
Yeah, but I thought
Mark
that
23.
was like the bee's knees as far as like, oh my gosh, do you see how much light this thing puts out? and then you have these little teeny tiny streamlight jobbers
LED
that are
ones,
like,
yeah.
oh, that just kicked the crap out of it.
Well, I'll tell you, like, one of my favorite delivery lights I had for a long time, and it ended up going missing from my truck, was a 3-cell LED mag light.
Yeah.
They had these. They had, I think it was like 3 C-cell batteries, and it was an LED head, and it would light up addresses. You could see what you were doing out there, and it was pretty good. But like, my macro stream, it does a pretty good job for a little light for what you're asking it to do. So
Does the mod light and all the other ones, does it have like a momentary switch? That's the one thing the Goonbeam doesn't have that I kind of like, that I wish it did. So you can click and it turns it on,
Right.
or you can kind of like hold it down without clicking and it'll turn the light on.
Yeah, the Goon beams I have that.
Yeah, the one I have doesn't. If I halfway press it, it won't do anything. I didn't know if it was just something that was not on the concealed carry
I don't know.
version or whatever. I was just kind of
But
curious.
yeah, the mod lights, if you do a light tap, it doesn't do anything. I mean, well, it turns on. It's a temporary switch, and then if you let go, it turns off. If you click it, it turns on.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, let's see.
My preferred weapon light's my Insight Light M3. It gives you the hottest 90 lumens
Attaboy.
out of a condensate light bulb you've ever seen in your life.
A nice glow, like a yellowish orange tinge to everything you see too.
And then you got to worry, because if you tighten it down so that you actually get a spot, you're almost at the threads where the head falls off.
Fall it off.
Yeah. So but if you have it tightened all the way down, it gives you this nice non-illuminated donut in the middle. That's for the red dot. They were thinking ahead.
So I was thinking of getting another light this week, but I figured the flame coming off the DEagle when you fire it is probably not the most conducive thing.
It's called defensive slideshow.
Yeah,
Next frame. Next frame.
Do DEagles have a rail?
I think some of the newer ones, I think you might be able to put a rail on them.
Yeah, you can get
They all have an optics rail
Mm-hmm.
because they're meant to kill animals. That's what they're too much for men. I like the idea. It's like, well, we made it to shoot things with body armor. It's like, that's not how you defeat body armor. What the hell are you
It's
guys
like
doing?
the 50 BMG.
I don't think that's how any of this works.
Let's see, from Kevin Isaac. Since
Hey.
Since the Olympics are going on, a few years back, I heard that Russia was working to try and get IPSC in the Olympics. Do you think IPSC would be a good Olympic sport, and how many of the current top shooters couldn't compete due to the banned substance list?
Oh,
I still think that IPSC and the USPSA is boring to watch unless you're the person who's pulling the trigger. But
I
that's just my opinion.
Watch the 3-position Olympic air rifle.
right.
Sorry. Let me
boring.
take a step back. I think the Olympics is boring to watch.
I think
not the target demographic.
So I'm not the target demographic.
I think IPSA would be pretty good, because the one thing that they're doing, especially on the telecast, like, they're just trimming the fat. They're trimming the fat out of the matches, and it would be really good. And doesn't, like, if a USPSA match was literally, and this person shot, and then this person shot, and then this person shot. Hey, we're coming in. We're going to take a look at Kevin Isaac. He's ahead of Jared Stepp by 2 match points. He has to do this, and they break down the math ahead of it.
Yeah.
And then you just look, and then, like, does he do it? Like, as long as everything's put together and presented well and explained right, like, it's a good sport to watch. It would be successful.
If you broke
what
it down like
Tactical
they
Hive did
Yeah.
at Nationals, where you have kind of that third-person view, you can see what the shooter's shooting. Everything they did there was really the direction I think the stages need to be shown in order for it to be interesting. You can put some cameras down at the shooter level and pick up some B-roll stuff to make it really, really fun. I think the biggest advantage, somebody was telling me that the reason that you'd want to get IPSC, maybe they're talking about it in the chat section, but the reason you want IPSC in the Olympics is because it actually makes a viable argument for citizens in European, other places of the world to have guns.
Yeah,
And I think that's the biggest problem, though, with trying to introduce a handgun-based sport in the Olympics, is that a lot of these guns are banned in a lot of countries, and they're not allowed unless for specific sporting purposes. And maybe you might be able to get that with the whole Olympic idea. But honestly, what I think they'd probably have to do
is change it to some bitch ass like airsoft version of IPSC. And I think if they did that, I think that could actually happen. But right now, with how firearms and like all that, all the politics and all the legalities that go with it, I just don't think it'll ever happen. But I think if they tried to change it and did some sort of uh, laser gun or airsoft or something along those lines, I think that would probably be
I think
more
that would be the
doable.
worst thing that could ever happen to
Yeah,
firearms,
well,
personal firearms
if
use,
if you
because it would then give people who are anti-gun. I mean, USPSA actually talked about this with respect to adding the 22 long rifle division. You don't want to basically give anything to people that would be anti-gun, because if you say, well, we shoot 22s, and well, then you don't need 9mm, and weird arguments like that. But at the same time, I think the Olympics is actually a viable route for countries to take. I think they should be pushing towards it.
and people will field
Whether it happens or
teams.
not, who knows?
They'll come
But
up with
I
laws to
know
allow
for a
them to
fact
field
that if you
teams.
build it, they will come. Look at the Jamaican bobsled team.
Well, the other part too is like if you do it one division. I almost went into my term. One division. The
Beautiful, big, glorious,
terrific division. It's a great
need
The
Frank-
division.
best division.
We
Uh,
need Frank Shu. He does the best. He does the best Donald Trump. It's hilarious.
But I would say like you just have it. You just have 6 stages. You redo the stages for the next. You have elimination, and then you have the final thing, and you have one division that they're competing in, and you do not ever make it open.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, after that terrible opening ceremony, I don't think I want to give France another gold medal in anything.
Yeah. Well, I would say like yeah.
Sorry, Eric.
Sorry. Please, we love you. Come over. You know what? The Czechs love you too. Head on over. I would say that if you had a division, then you try to stealth in defensive firearm use, and you just do a carry optics. You give the most modern thing of a defensive 9mm handgun, because I think what would happen if they had something like that, and then people are showing up shooting 38 super comp out of open pistols. It's just like this isn't really. This isn't the way to get this open. Yeah.
So,
Let's see from Itzik. Oh man, I hope I said that right. ITZIK Itzik. Oh, we'll go with it.
That's the new model of TSOS 1911. Is the Itzik. I saw it. It's coming in. It's 9mm.
I'm always hearing at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what gun you're shooting. So how come nobody's competing with a stock Glock, like straight out of the box, hardcore? At the new shooter matches, we see it all the time. People will show up with, I mean, I don't know that they're completely stock, but they look very, very stock firearms. They'll slap a red dot on it, but a lot of the people, they still have the little plasticky, Glock sights on there.
Well,
it does happen.
Well, here's the idea of stock nowadays. Plenty of people that are shooting iron sight divisions like Limited are shooting with stock guns. They're called Artemises. That's the default model that they're buying it. When they get a staccato, they're shooting with a stock gun, because that's what it is. Our ideas of what stock guns were and which were in competition than what they are now. Like when I bought my Canik Rival S, I shot it at a stock factory configuration, because that's what it is. I mean, that's the stock guns are much, much better. And are there people who are shooting? You could buy a Glock 34, comes with the competition trigger now and an MOS plate, and you put a dot on it, and you shoot carry optics. People can do that. I see there's a lot of pretty much stock. The idea of 10, 15 years ago, where I buy a gun and I got to go get a trigger kit for it, and I got to get sights for it, and I got to do all this other stuff for it. Third-party magazine release, third-party hammer. There's some platforms which that is still the case. The CZ platform is probably the biggest example of that. But everywhere else, like there's not a if people want to add weight to a PDP, they do it, but they're not really going into the triggers or doing anything else with them now. Like putting sights on a gun. I bought 2 pairs of sights for my Heckler & Kochs, but that's just because I can't dot them. It's like buying sights is for people who can't dot their guns now.
I mean, I think it's, time has shifted things, right? Because 2-factor, for one, in competitions, yes, we're looking for reliability, right? But it's not as big of a factor for that. Sure it is, but it's not life and death, if you will, right? But two, there's a Glock is viable, but there's 20 other extremely viable and arguably better solutions to the problem.
Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, I mean, like there's a lot of guns that I bought, and I just left them stock because they've just gotten so good. Like that M&P, I've actually since sold that, but that M&P, I really I like that gun. I just never shot it, but I left that pretty much stock except for putting a dot on it. My shield is stock. My I don't know, this Beretta, it's an LTT Beretta, but I've never, whatever it came from there,
You can
it's just
buy it in that
it's
form.
just stayed what it is.
You
I've
can-
never
yeah,
I've never
you-
changed anything on it. I think guns are just getting really good anymore.
Well, go ahead, Joe.
I don't know if I just took this question in a different way, but I was thinking more of it along the lines of, well, how come people are competing and shooting and limited optics per se with all these high-end 2011s versus just a basic ass bitch Glock with a magwell on it? And theoretically, if I shoot a match with my duty setup and then I shoot a match with my competition setup, will the results be comparable? Yes. But I will shoot my competition setup probably maybe 5-10% better. It also really just kind of depends. But a lot of it just comes down to ease of shootability. It comes down to mechanical advantage, which we talked about ad nauseum at this point. But I really think it's just, if it's easier to shoot a gun, it's more fun to shoot it, and it makes me want to compete with that gun more. I like shooting my Voodoo Priest a lot more than I like shooting my Duty Glock because the grip's better, because the red dot on there is better, because the trigger is better, because it returns to zero better, because I can tune the springs where I can't tune the springs with my work gun. So I can do all this extra little fine tuning stuff and take full advantage of all the mechanical advantages of the 1911 platform and go that route. And it's a lot more fun for me, as opposed to if I just shot my stock Glock. Would I probably do pretty similar? Yeah, but it's just not as fun.
Yep.
And for me personally, I think that's a big thing out of the sport. It's like I want to shoot what's fun. I think the bougier guns are a little bit more fun. I think having a unique, your own gun is a little bit more fun than
Well,
having just a basic ass
and
gun
it-
that everybody else has.
and it's in style. And two, the basic guns now, every manufacturer almost makes a USPSA centric version
Right.
of the gun. Like, why are you going to shoot your wall through PDP and get in the sport? Well, I did, but I got the steel PDP.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Glock. Does anyone go in there and shoot stock Glocks? Yeah, plenty of people can go in there and shoot stock Glocks. And what's his bucket from T-Rex Arms got 7th at Carry Optics National shooting his carry gun, which is pretty much a dang stock Glock 17. There's plenty of people
Shane Coley.
Yeah,
Shane Coley showed up and he was competing at the cop match. He was just shooting a stock Glock, a bitch ass Glock, and he was having a time of his life with it. And I think if I actually set out and said, let's shoot match one day, Glock one day, open or limited optics or whatever, there's probably going to be about 5-10, maybe at
less.
max.
I think less. I think
At
it'll be
max,
2%, 2 or 3%.
15%, but realistically, I'd probably say it's more like 5 to 10%, and that's just, it's like what Tom's saying.
I think at the top end, right? Like if you take Shane or somebody, right, stock Glock versus decked out agency one, it's less than 5% difference, right?
Right, you're wringing out just the
if you take a
tiniest
B
bit.
class guy, maybe he's going to get 10% out of it, right? Because his grip doesn't have to be as dialed, or his trigger pull doesn't have to be quite as dialed in, right? So
the
he
mechanical
gets more out
advantages
of it.
mean less to Shane Coley than they do to random Joe Schmo cop who's never shot anything before and doesn't know how to hold a gun.
Yeah.
Those mechanical advantages, the weight, all that stuff, they can help a lot to someone who has poor fundamentals. Whereas if you I always joke around about this actually about with Glock, it's like if you have the perfect fundamentals, the Glock shoots perfectly. If you have perfect fundamentals, it shoots amazingly and you can destroy everything with a stock ass Glock 17.
but it just requires a little bit more work because you have to have that perfect grip every single time. Whereas if you have a slightly heavier gun, a
Certain guns are easier.
75-ounce Shadow, guess what? Do you need a perfect grip to shoot and have it come perfectly back on target? Probably
What was
not.
Bradley, what's his name, Merriam or whatever, with the T-Rex Arms guy? He was
Yeah.
talking about that on a podcast. He was saying that he found that he actually kind of preferred the punishing nature of the Glock because it tells you immediately if your fundamentals have failed, right? Like, because if you have this bougie DWX, it's all heavy and stuff, it's easy to kind of relax. You don't have to be as focused, but there is something to be said about staying dialed in the whole time. And so if you're using a gun that doesn't let you get away with stuff, you'll know immediately, oh, I can't do that, right?
Yeah.
Like I have to be perfect.
But yeah, that's the one thing is like Glock. The reason why this question kind of sticks out in my mind because Glock is basically the only manufacturer that does not have a competition-centric pistol. So what we're kind of asking is why aren't people shooting stock Glocks if they're just as competitive compared to everybody else when everyone else pretty much now is shooting some sort of stock configuration of a purpose-built gun?
Yeah.
From Dirk Hopkins, why are there not more people shooting 3-gun? Everyone has at least 3 guns needed. Did the LARPers scare people?
It might cost. Like the one thing too is like for us, like we would rather spend the money on more pistol ammunition than rifle ammunition and shotgun and all that other stuff. Like Jared competes in it, but it's just
I
like
used to, but
like-
honestly, not so much anymore. Because for me, the fun part about shooting a rifle or shooting a shotgun, I never liked shooting shotgun, but the fun part about shooting rifle was shooting at 2, 3, 4, 500 yards. That was what was fun about 3-gun, was doing hard shit at far distances, burning down and hosing paper targets and at 5 yards isn't that hard. And this sounds mean, but I don't need to practice that. I can do that just fine with my AR because almost all your pistol skills will translate to your rifle skills. If you can burn down a stage at 5 yards with a pistol, I pretty much can guarantee you can do the same thing with a rifle because it's the exact same thing, but easier. That's why all the old dudes love PCC.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't like shooting 3-gun as much anymore around here. It's just because I think it's a lot more effort, especially right now when it's so damn hot. It's a lot more effort. You have bigger squads, and it's like I don't want to be on a 15-man squad at a 3-gun.
Setup's
That's
harder.
gonna take forever.
It takes forever to actually the load make ready process is 3 times.
Yeah, it's just there's more standing around. There's more hauling stuff around. There's more work and less fun. And I just don't.
well,
I don't know.
and less competition.
Yeah.
You know what though? I know why people like it because it is a lot of fun, and I don't take anything away from that. I just in a year's time, I will probably maybe shoot 100 rounds of a rifle. I just don't care about it. I mean, I have all the stuff. I have the shotgun. I have the rifles, and if I'm just honest about it, I like shooting pistols. I think pistols are uniquely fun. It's a more challenging aspect of the practical shooting. I don't hate anybody like Adam Reiser he's a fantastic Josh Zalwig, fantastic 3-gun shooters. They're these great and wonderful shooters, and they love it, and they will travel around to do all the really fun things with it. For me, it just doesn't move the needle. And it's like if you come and say, "Hey, do you want to come out and shoot this multi-gun match?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'd rather go do stuff with my family on that weekend."
Well,
Yeah.
and it's also gotten to the point where I don't want to say multi-gun kind of jumped the shark, but all the different organizations, I swear it's like every damn chance I shoot multi-gun, it's a different rule set. And so it's kind of frustrating where it's like I don't even know like what's allowed in this division. I don't know what can I do here? I can't have a muzzle brake? What?
Well, here's
Oh, my BCG weight is required to be what? What
It-
is
it
this?
kinda
And so
feels-
I'll just say, fuck it.
for me, it kind of feels like 3-gun is the pogs of the shooting sports because like in
Oh.
2010 through 2016, it was
the shit.
This is what you do. Man, at our level ones, we were giving away fucking rifles. We got sponsor support. Look at this guy's shirt. Look at this guy's shirt. He's sponsored by everyone. Is that Walmart? Does he have Walmart on the back? Walmart's sponsoring him. And then it went to freaking nothing. And there's still a few people who like to go out there and do it. And they're still great and usable skills. But I have my rifle. Like, I'd probably go out there and go get another shotgun because I would like to have them because they're candy and they're useful and I like to use them. It's great. I like shooting a rifle. I like going out there and, every once in a while shooting a couple like 50-round drills with a rifle. That's fun. Okay, it's zeroed. Like, it runs. I'm happy with it. But as far as like the competition and the level of competition that's available in the area and the cost of it and the time and the effort that goes into it, like, I think it's
there's also that part, the cost, trying to set up. We've all spent, all four of us, including Tom, even though he used poor ass's guns, all of us have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on our pistol setups, right?
What do I get? I got a TRP 1911 and a USP in my hand, and I'm getting a poor ass guns. All I have is nice shit.
Poor choices in your case, Tommy. Poor choices.
But
expensive poor choices. They don't mean it,
Exactly.
baby. They don't mean it.
So that's the problem, though, is with a 3-gun, it's a whole nother setup. It's a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother, oh, well, if you want to be competitive, you got to build a dedicated rifle for this. And then that's probably at least $1,000. Plus, then you got the optics. Plus, you got this. Plus, you got that. Plus, you got
and
the
then
ammo. Plus, it's
the loading
it just
pain.
adds up.
The loading pain when you start to loading rifle is just like, okay, well, I can just
Hell no.
make my
Hell no.
life a freaking mess for this month and prep it, or I can spend $3,000 and get a system, which is still a pain in the ass. It's just less of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I will literally pick up more 223 cases off the ground at the armory than I will shoot in an entire year. Yeah, like in one afternoon.
Yeah, I think for us on this, like, we have, busier lives and stuff like that. Like, if we had weekends to fill and money to fill it with, and we just had to get that shooting bug taken care of, sure. Like, when everyone gets super hard in the shooting bug, they go to 3-gun. But like, when everything kind of levels out, you just kind of go to where you want to be.
And if it was a job or something, if you were getting paid, you'd go shoot whatever, right? But you have a limited amount of time and limited budget. You choose one to specialize in, and it so happens that you have a good rule set, good local club, and you go with that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of an interesting question, though. I mean, how much of our opinion is based around the idea that we have a uniquely good USPSA club? If we were up in, where was Nationals? Forest Lakes in Minnesota, and because they have a huge 3-gun community there, would we be more inclined to shoot 3-gun because that's what it is that there exists?
What do my friends shoot?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe not, though. Still stupid shotgun.
Yeah, I hate shotguns.
Well, all the 3-gunners left.
They have mag-loaded shotguns now, so that could be better.
All the 3-gunners quit and ran off and became jeepers.
That is true.
I love you, Josh.
Who doesn't? I miss Josh. Josh was good people. Last question from Andy Erickson, host of one of my top 3 favorite podcasts. I saw the Deadwood Police Department carrying stainless wood-gripped P226 Elites. What abnormal guns besides staccatos have you seen carried by the cops?
A stainless is a good choice for cops. When you're in the dark and you pull out a stainless gun and you say, "Don't fucking move," and they get to see, like, what's that? Oh shit, he's got a gun. Oh, hey bro. Like, Masad always brought this up. Like,
if he does this and says, "Hey bro," I'm probably gonna shoot him.
Like, Masad always brought that up, especially in the days of like the non-weapon lights, because now you're probably just gonna throw light on them. They're not gonna see shit anyway. But like, Masad used to bring this up, and it was just like with the stainless revolvers and stuff. Like, it was a lot for sweat and stuff on their bodies. But back in the day, like, it would be like the show me factor of like, I've pulled a gun out on you. This is glaring in the light. Please stop. Stop doing what you're doing. And so I think kind of like maybe on the surface wear stuff, but like stainless P226 Elites, kind of a weird gun, but that's kind of like
That's a
That-
flex move right there.
That's a
Had
Texas.
extra budget at the end of the year. They're like,
That's
we
a-
got to spend this money.
Well, that's a Texas Ranger move where it's just like, listen, our average income of our place is $98,000 a year. Hey, but Chief, everyone shot the Glock better. I'm not going to hear this. We're a SIG company. P320s? No, God, no. We're not getting 320s. What do you have? Oh, what's a step lower? That's our gun. That's our gun, everybody. That's what we're rocking. And it's just, like we go up into like Midway and stuff like that, these fancy, but like Park City, like a lot of those guys up there are carrying 1911s. Like you still see like half of those guys carrying 1911s, and you're just like, yep.
So I was
Summit
in,
County.
Summit County
does Kimbers.
Yep.
I was in Nicaragua, I think, working, and I was at a mall, like it looked like a U.S. mall, really, like same stores, but every entry to the mall had like a gate with a security person, and then patrolling the mall they had security guards, but so they all had guns, but I saw like the most clapped out Beretta clone that probably had a Cerakote job or some Duracoat that was half gone. And then the next guy that walked by was, I don't even know what revolver, but it was in terrible condition, right? Like I don't know. I kind of terrified because the mall needs this. More terrified because this is what they're trying to protect me with.
Well, the sad fact is all those finishes that Taurus puts on that PT92 that you saw, that Beretta clone, and that Taurus revolver, those things put more holes in people than that
true.
company. Like if we rock the clock, we'll be like, oh wow, Glock's #1. Not shocking, SIG.
Not
And
a
then you're
number
like,
of shots.
and number 5 with the bullet, we have Taurus of Brazil. Like Taurus and Bursa, like South America has problems, and Taurus and Bursa clean up a lot of them problems. Like when Glock's the staccato of South America. That's a quote for me. Let's make a T-shirt.
All I know is like I'll see law enforcement and I'll see cops and stuff with their duty gives. They'll walk around in the stores or whatever, and I don't know why. For some reason, I always look at it, and then I look at the gun. I'm trying to figure out what the gun is, usually a Glock or Smith & Wesson or something like that. And then I look at like where they put their mag pouches and random things like that. And then for some reason, I always make this judgment. I'm like, I could take that guy.
Yeah, I could take that. I could. Yeah, the interesting things about weird, fancy like duty guns is like, yeah, you would see like those agencies. It's always some weird highbrow agency that always gets something special. And like some of those stuff, like you got like the FBI, they could make anything up, but like the Rangers, the Texas Rangers back in the day, they freaking big digged it because they didn't want just a gun, they wanted a caliber, and they said, no, we don't want 40 caliber. We like the ballistics. We don't want it. We want a 357 caliber bullet, when we also want it out of a semi-auto. Make it. And then SIG was just like, okay, 357 SIG, everybody, because the Texas Rangers wanted to flex on everybody and say, this is what we do. We get our own cartridge. That's like the FBI with 40 Smith & Wesson. This is how we roll, baby. That's when you're throwing down the department, like, no, you make us bullets and guns.
But how does that work though? Because like Jared, I mean, you know this, but like, do you have to get the gun that the department issues, or does the department give you an allowance, or do they give you 3 picks?
I've been actually contacting a bunch of agencies here in the Valley about this because I was trying to update our firearms policy. So I was getting all their information, what other cities do, and all the big basically agencies in the Valley, in Salt Lake County and Utah County, Davis, Summit, blah, blah, blah. And just kind of figuring out, what does everybody else do? Because this is what we do, and I think it's stupid. So let's see if we can change what we do. And normally how it works is, I would say the majority of departments will issue a gun, whether it's a Glock or an M&P. Most it's safe to assume it's probably going to be a Glock here in Utah. And then if you would like to carry your own gun, some agencies will say you can carry your own gun, but it has to be X, Y, or Z. And then some agencies will also say you can carry your own gun. You can carry whatever the hell you want as long as it fits this criteria. Like it's 9mm, it's a full size gun, and its trigger pull is more than 4 pounds, and you can get a good duty holster for it. If you can fit those 4 requirements, you can carry whatever the fuck you want. And so we have a number of agencies around here that'll carry. It's not the agency does it, but random guys will carry squirrely ass shit. Like there was a guy the other day who had a goddamn 5.7. An FN 5.7 was his duty gun, and we were like, "What? What is that?"
Rolling less lethal all day long.
Right, and you're just like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he's just like, "It's cool, man. Look, it goes with my P90." And we're like, "You're a fucking idiot." But
well,
there was that.
He works at a small department in northern Utah. What do you want?
He does not.
Oh, it's even worse.
He works in Utah County for one of the biggest agencies. So
Lehigh,
another
everybody.
guy, though, it was funny. We were actually we were looking for this fugitive who crashed a car and bailed, and we were out doing containment, and I was walking with a canine looking, and the guy next to me just rolls up and he hops out. He's like, "You guys need more help?" We're like, "Sure, man. Who the hell are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm with DEA task force and blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, "Cool." And I look at his gun. I'm like, the hell is that? Is that like a SIG? Is that it's the hammer's back. And so for a while I don't say anything, and then we just keep, we search around, and then eventually I'm like, "Hey, what is that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a CZ75." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, why are you carrying that? He's like, "Oh, I love this guy." And then he started talking to me. I'm like, "Oh, you're a gun hipster. God damn it."
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. But that was kind of funny.
There's
But
only
that's probably
one true way to hip out.
Right? But I don't. That's typically how it works, though. Is most of the time an agency will issue a gun. This is the gun they allow. They do armor certifications for it. They'll give holsters, ammo, blah blah blah. They have everything for this toy. Right. Sometimes some agencies will say, "If you don't want my toy, we'll allow you to pick a different toy," and then it kind of just goes from there.
Yeah, there you go.
Weird stuff. And then in California, the LAPD pick a handgun. That's not even on the California approved list. Everyone gets to do wild
Rules
stuff.
for thee, but not for me.
Rules for thee. Thank you.
Well, 511. Yeah, not 511. FN hires the best strippers. There's no question about it. That's how you get those departments. Yeah, it's like the gun buddies.
It's called marketing.
It's called FN for a reason.
FN. That's what their sales guys are doing. Anyways, if you would like to throw ones everywhere, hey, we have a Patreon. You get an extra long version of the show. We have a little Deadpool spoiler cast on there. If this spoiler cast surprised you because you haven't seen the movie before, I don't know. There's plenty of other podcasts. Check that out. So for Robert Wyatt, and Telegram, and thank the sponsors, PARA10 and all that jazz. And for Robert Wyatt, Kevin Isaac, and Jared Stephon, Tom Nelson, being you peace-loving souls, we depart into the open waters of the Sea of Life on a little tugboat we like to call the PARAcast.
Good night, everybody.
Doot doot.